Moving to our next speaker, Mr. Shreyansh Modi, who is the Manager in Digital Marketing OLX India. Shreyansh Modi is a digital marketing professional with 7+ years of hands-on experience in digital marketing, has the ability to research and stay ahead of online media industry trends, management expertise, and I have proven ability to manage at both the strategic and operational levels. Specialities: mobile marketing, mobile app and mobile web marketing, search engine marketing, multi-channel advertising campaigns, restructuring, CTR optimization, automatic ad position management, landing page optimization, CPC, CPA and bid optimization, display advertising, Google double-click, programmatic buying, Google Display Network, banner ads, video ads, remarketing, affiliate marketing, publisher tie-ups, and multi-channel advertising, search engine optimization and web analytics, in-depth keyword research, competitor analysis, SERP analysis, keyword density, studying and analysis of search data from Google Analytics, KPI and ROI calculations. Social media marketing, experience of social media as a science and how it helps feed one of the basic human need of communication, enabling business to drive engagements through tools like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and Google+. Email marketing, used email marketing as one of the most important tools to market the products for the company to drive engagement and sales.
Over to you, Mr. Modi. You can start your presentation now.
Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Shreyansh Modi. I work for OLX and I lead the digital marketing efforts for OLX India. Today I'm going to take you through a very special topic, which is mobile remarketing and mobile marketing, of course. Okay guys, so what's mobile marketing? I think it's had been quite a buzzword around the marketing space right now, right? It's actually nothing. It's just an extension of internet marketing, right? It's just another channel for internet marketing. So today, if you have a desktop as a channel or PC as a channel, you also have mobile as a channel, which is another important channel aspect, right? Because of its specifics, again, mobile marketing becomes interesting and important for a digital marketer. So this is the definition of mobile marketing. I think everyone is aware of this. We can just move to next. Why exactly is important for your business? Today, if you were to choose on channels or prioritize on channels, what channel would you use? There would be a lot of channels which you will have to choose. So mobile is definitely one channel which you cannot let go and you cannot ignore the channel. It's one of the biggest channels today because there are a lot of users around mobile which you can reach through mobile marketing. Of course, that's a quite big channel, right? And today, if we were to take if you were to quote some sort of numbers, then mobile people spend more time on mobile devices than all the other medias put together, right? So that's how big mobile becomes when it comes to marketing for a marketeer. So today you use mobile phone, I use mobile phone, everyone is using their mobile phones, right? And we use it to a great extent. There are a lot of users who have only one device and their first and only device is mobile phone, right? So they don't really have multiple devices and the luxury of having a desktop and a mobile phone and a tablet and other devices, right? So that's the only phone is the only device or medium which they have to communicate, to use, to transact and do whatever they want. Mobile is basically a go-to medium today, and you cannot ignore this medium. Okay, so every day this is one particular device which is very close to you across the day. You keep it very close to you. It's just within your arm's reach, right? Whenever you need it, you just reach out to it and you check it. And you even, in fact, a matter of fact is that a lot of people check their mobile phone for time as well. People have stopped wearing watches. People have stopped their newspaper connections. People have stopped their newspaper subscriptions. People have stopped their DTH recharges, right? Because they are consuming the internet on mobile devices. They have over the top OTT apps, right? Like Woot, Hotstar, Netflix, and everything. So today you don't really need a DTH connection as well. That's how strong mobile phone is, and you don't really need a newspaper subscription as well. So that's how strong mobile phone as a device is, and that's why it's more important today. It helps you find your customers no matter where they are. You can find your mobile customers across the time, across the entire day. You can find them and you can contact them, and you can display custom messages and creative, be it a push notification, be it a SMS, be it a email. Everything is read on mobile first today, right? So now we understand what mobile marketing exactly is, and let's move towards how we can strategize mobile marketing, how we can create a strategy of our mobile marketing campaigns, right? How can we set up, what should be the strategy, what should be our ROI calculations, right? What should our ROI calculation look like? What is, at all, if we were to set up goals, what our goals should look like? Should it be small? Should it be a big goal? Should we also look at micro goals as well? Or how can we, basically it's a continuous process, right? You keep on improving your mobile app, and you look at your data, and then you optimize, and then you again go back and fix the issues which you have faced, right? So I just want to touch upon one more important point, is that there could be businesses, again, you could be in a B2B environment, you could be in a consumer to consumer interface as well environment. And in both of the cases, you cannot definitely ignore mobile as a channel of choice, right? So you will have to have mobile as a channel of choice. You'll have to, so the first and the most important thing to get started with mobile marketing is that you need to have a mobile first experience, right? Today, if I have a desktop website, I cannot go ahead and say that, okay, let me start with the mobile marketing, but I'll serve the desktop website to the users who are browsing on mobile. No, that's not fair to do. You might not have an app, and you might not want to invest into a mobile app, but really having a great experience, mobile web experience, is the prerequisite before starting mobile marketing. That's the first step which you need to take. You need to have a website which is mobile first, mobile ready, and mobile optimized, right? That's only when you can even start getting SEO traffic. Forget about any paid investments which you'll be making, but even to get free traffic, you need to have a mobile optimized website. Once you understand that, okay, this is what you need to sort on the product side, this is not what you need on the product side, you can move to the next point, which is you need to understand your consumer behavior, right? Today, if I were a cab app, then I can understand that utility for me would be a lot, right? But tomorrow, if you were to say that there's an app for a business to business experience, but that is something which is not really required. So you need to figure out what is that your consumers need. Is there actually a need of having an app, or you can do away with having a very good mobile website? So you need to figure that out. You need to understand your consumers. You need to get into your consumer shoe and understand that if you were a consumer, would you be using the app given that you are on a limited storage? You need to consider for users who are on Android 4, still using Android 4. If you are developing an app, you should need to consider people who are not on mobile app as well, right? So that's one important piece which you need to work on, and you need to prepare for all the possible audiences, not just people who are using high-end devices. You need to also look at people who are not using so very fancy devices, right? So you need to have backward compatibility built in. You need to also figure out that what is the best strategy for you. Do you need an app? So for OLX today, if we market and we push our app very heavily, there's a reason behind it why we do it, because our experience is the best on mobile apps, right? That's where we figure out. Today, if we were to also check that why are cab aggregators pushing their apps so heavily, that's because their experience is very heavy on the app. That's because their experience is something which you'd want to use day in and day out. You would want to use again and again, right? All the messaging apps, they are very hit right now because that's on the usage as well, and retention, what sort of usage users have, right? So once you understand that your consumers, and once you understand your audience, who your audience is, then you need to start with your campaigns, right? You need to align that what sort of campaigns you would be targeting. Once you have understanding of your audience, you can start with campaign, that what sort of campaigns you would be doing, what sort of organic activities would you be doing, what sort of audience you would be reaching out to. And that's when you need to be very relevant. You don't need you should ensure that you reach out to the right audience, and you reach out to the right audience at the right time. Now, once you have figured that out, that this is my right audience, this is the right time to reach the audience, and this is the right message which I should go ahead with, and this is the right message which I should deliver to the audience, then you need to define the next step. What should your next step be like? Once you have displayed a message to your audience, what is the next step you'd want them to take? Do you want them to come on your website and fill up a lead, or do you want them to come and install the app? You need to figure that out. What should be the next step? You need to define the goal. You need to define your micro goals as well. I think the more you define and the more you measure, you'd succeed. You'd understand better that where exactly your people are dropping out, right? So that's when you should define your goals and micro goals as well. And you should also define your key campaign KPIs. So if you have decided that you'll be running a lead generation campaign, then you should be aware that what would be your first KPI, what would be your second KPI, what would be your third KPI, what would be a goal for you, and what would be a micro event which would happen before the goal for you. So you can, once you have all this set up, you need to start looking at the data, and then essentially you would understand that where exactly you are failing. Are you doing something wrong in the first step, second step, or the third step? Where exactly are your users going out? Where exactly are your users facing problem? You can understand that, right? So setting up goals and defining your KPI is again very important part of the strategy. And once you have understood this, you have set up some goals and you have some KPIs, then you can start with campaigns. You can set up the campaigns. You can do some paid investments around your app, or if you're doing a mobile web campaign, then also you can set up some paid investments and you can start driving traffic. Alongside, what you should also do is that you should not forget to focus upon organic traffic, because that's also important traffic which would help you gain a lot of share without being too aggressive and in spending money, right? So that's also very important. So once you have everything set up, you can just start and you can continue to monitor what sort of traffic you are getting, what sort of conversions you are getting, and where exactly you need to improve. And because you'd have this great tracking setup, you'd easily be able to understand that what has worked and what has not worked. And one more important aspect which comes up is retention. Retention becomes very important when it comes to mobile, right? Mobile devices is the place basically where you can get the maximum retention. Today, if you were to invest on one channel and get the maximum retention out of it, that is mobile app, right? Once a person has installed the app, you can reach out to that person anytime, any given point of time. You can communicate with that person through push notifications. You can tell that user, okay, here's an offer, why don't you try us, if he hasn't tried. If he has tried, then you can tell him that why don't you try this, we have added this new item, right? So focusing upon retention is also very important, because you spend money to acquire that user, and now you can either continue getting more users and you can let users leave, or you can focus upon retention as well, and you can be very sure that your users would repeat, right? Day in and day out, they will come back and they'll do a purchase with you or do a transaction with you. So that's when retention becomes important. Moving to the next point, once you understand what mobile marketing is, once you know why it is important, and once you also have figured out how to do it, you need to move to the next level, right? You need to understand what exactly should be your next step. Now there could be two bigger use cases which I can think of. One is that you already have an existing desktop business, and one is that you don't have an existing desktop business or a website or anything if you are even offline, then you have some sort of database which you already have, right? So most important and most easiest thing to do when you already have some sort of database is to nurture that database and bring users to your new platform, right? If you have a desktop app or if you have a desktop website, then you can start nurturing your users and you can start telling them, okay, we have launched a new app, we have launched a new mobile website, why don't you try us on mobile website as well, right? You can send out a email campaign for that. You can send out a SMS campaign for that. You can also start running banners on your website to drive some awareness, right? This is one place where you really don't need to invest any sort of money. It is already your audience, your traffic which is coming onto your website, and you can start utilizing and rather progressing these guys to the next level, right? And there is another important question which a lot of people ask is that, do I really need an app? Okay, I want a mobile presence, but do I really need an app? I don't think users would keep my app forever. So the right answer to this question, there's no right answer to this question actually, but you need to ask this question to yourself. You need to step into your customer's shoe and understand, right? Today, if you are someone who really doesn't need an app and your users can just do the transaction on mobile web, then why not give them an experience which is very good on mobile app? Why not give them an accelerated experience on your mobile web as well, right? So you need to decide that, do you need an app at all, or you can just do away with the mobile website, or you need both. You can try that as well. If you think you have certain users who need app, and there are certain users, heavy users, who would need app, and there are certain light users which you feel would come and transact once in a month, twice in a month, then you can still have a very good website, mobile website, on which users can come and start. So once you have figured that out, you have everything set up, then you can start with campaigns, right? Starting app promotion campaign is very important once you have figured out that you want to grow, right? And to test your app, you will need some sort of users, real users using your app out there. So you can start distributing your app once you have figured out that you're launching your app. You can start distributing your app to your friends. You can start distributing apps to your pre customers. You can do a beta test sort of a thing. And then one interesting thing which you can also try is you can run incentivized campaigns, right? You can incentivize users to use your app, and then you can incentivize once they reach certain level. For gaming partners, you can incentivize them with some sort of gaming rewards. For other users, you can incentivize them with whatever you have to offer, right? It could be a freemium subscription which you can offer them. It can be a discount coupon which you offer them. It could be a Amazon voucher or Flipkart voucher which you can offer them upon completion of certain thing, right? That's how you can grab more eyeballs, and you can get more real users testing your app, using your app, interacting with your app, and transacting with your app as well, right? So once you have some sort of user base, that's when you can understand what exactly is right, what exactly is wrong, what you need to improve on, and that's when you'll be ready to move to the next level and maybe put in some more money into the campaigns, and then you can start do a full-fledged launch of your app, right? That's when you can launch your app on search marketing. You can start Facebook campaigns, you can do Google campaigns, you can even start doing more campaigns around Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot. You can try whatever you want, right? So there are a lot of infinite number of channels which you can try. So you can just start trying on channels, and then you can continuously see what sort of return you are getting, and based on the returns you can try and optimize the returns and try and optimize your overall return of investments. One more interesting thing which comes up is that's something which so if you're building an app which you think is really out of the world, then what you can do is you can send out your app to a lot of users, right? There are a lot of app stores out there. There are app stores. You can send your app to app stores, and you can request them to get a approval on doing a review of your app. They can also feature your app, and then that's how you can get some free eyeballs, and you can get some free promotion from the app stores. That's something which I'd strongly suggest you should try doing. You should make your app, possibly improve your app, have it to a great extent, and the place where you are happy with your app, you can send it to these app stores and ask them to review your app and feature it, right? So that's one important strategy that you should use to get free traffic and free app downloads, and that really doesn't cost a lot, but it would give you a lot of exposure. And once if you crack this, then there's no stopping. You can also go viral from this place, right? And as I said earlier, I mentioned on this point earlier as well, it's all about testing. It's all about checking what works, what doesn't work. It's all about feeling and understanding what has gone right and what has gone wrong, so that you can just continuously keep improving your app experience. So you should not just work on app, but you should also work on creatives. What you can also, a small hack which you can try doing is, you can try changing the screenshots which you have posted on Google Play Store, right? That also has an impact. You can try changing the title of your app. That also has an impact on search rankings of your app, right? If you just name your if you have a game and you just name it, say, Pokemon Go or something of that sort, then you would start coming on that. But that needs to be relevant to your app as well. So be relevant and try all these fixes, right? These are just small hacks which you can try, and you can see the results immediately. Some would work, some might not work. So it's just about testing and figuring out what has worked and what has not worked. So I'll just move to the next piece here. So here we are. So this is the next step. Once you have realized that you have built some base, once you have realized that you have got enough traction, you have some sort of users who are coming onto your app, some sort of users who are coming onto your mobile website, and you have some sort of traction already in the market, right? That's when you understand that your product is great, everything is sorted, and you want more and more users to transact day in and day out. That's when you need to start mobile remarketing, right? This again is a very fancy word which a lot of people use. It's not really as fancy as it sounds, but it is quite simple. It is just about reaching the right people with the right message. These are the users who have already been on your app. These are the users who have already tried your website. These are the users who have already interacted with your website and may or may not have converted, right? So you can choose to get back to these users and display them a message. Okay, you have been on an app, you have been on a website. Why don't you complete your purchase? Or maybe you can throw up a coupon code or a discount to these guys, saying that you have not completed your purchase. Why don't you do it now? Right? Because when you start investing money, or when you start getting some sort of traction, that's when you understand that you don't really have a great conversion rate. No one in this world has a great conversion rate, right? A lot of people come onto the website, a lot of people install the app, they try the app, but they don't convert, right? These are the users where you have a lot of. Sorry, we have one question. I'll just take this. Give me 1 second, Sahil. So these are the users which basically have experienced your app but have not converted for certain user reasons, right? So they can. These are the easiest people to convince. You can go back to them and you can bring them back and essentially give them a discount sort of a thing, or you can tell them what has changed, what has improved in your app for them to convert. I'll just read out your question, Sahil. Thank you so much for your question. You suggest a mobile app for real estate business here. People will buy in very long-term basis. Yeah. So yes, just to give you a quite background of mine, I was with a company called commonfloor.com. It's a real estate company prior to joining OLX. And real estate, it's a long cycle. I understand it's a very long cycle, and people really don't buy houses in a month or two, right? They take years to get to the closure. But the important piece here is that, do you want to get into real estate and then say that you want a experience which is very great on app, or can you have a good experience on mobile web as well? Real estate app would add certain value in certain cases, right? When people are shortlisting properties, they don't really end up. So just to give you some more data, there are a lot of people who are looking out for real estate in an example, and they contact almost 100 properties before getting to a closure. That is, that 100 plus properties is what conversion completes the conversion. That is like minimum number which I have given you. The people which contact even more properties, they see the project, they don't really like it, and then they come back, right? So in that case, having a app is really wise, but if you can have a great mobile web experience, then that is also fine. I understand that can also be good enough. But having an app definitely helps, because that stays with your users always, right? So it is again an easy way to communicate with the user. So if I, as a real estate seeker, I have downloaded your app, you can continuously keep communicating me that okay, this is the new property which we have, and push notifications have proven to work great. So I think yes, app definitely makes sense for real estate as well, be it buy or sell. In both the cases, it makes sense. And also this is a cross cross device world, right? So people don't really use just one device. I use 4 devices. I start browsing on my mobile phone and then move to a tablet, and then eventually I convert on a desktop PC, right? So in that case, how do you tie up the knot together and then say that okay, this conversion was inspired, this conversion happened because I got this person first on my mobile app or mobile web, right? So that's very important. You can set up a cross device conversion tracking to understand how your users are using different devices and then eventually converting, right? So that is again one important thing which you should focus on, and you can invest some sort of time and money on this as well. So yeah, quickly I'll just move to the next point. Why exactly is mobile remarketing awesome, right? Why should one come and invest in this? So, as I said earlier, that it's very important and crucial to reach back to the users who have already been on your app, right? Who have already been on your website or app, or who have already experienced your product. Because selling to these people is much easier than selling to people who are not even aware of your product, right? They have already taken one step towards conversion, they're already down in the funnel. So that's when it becomes important for to focus on these users, and then also focus on new users, of course. And eventually, see, if you are running some remarketing campaigns, then if you are touching upon your same existing user base, you are eventually increasing your lifetime value of your acquired customers. How exactly that works is, I'll just give you a quick example. If you are an e-commerce business, just take an example of an e-commerce business. In e-commerce business, you have installed the app and you have made one purchase, right? There is one offer which comes up, and through remarketing you have shared that offer, that there's a push notification which comes up, okay, why don't you buy on this product from us, right? And you click on it and you go and eventually buy the product. Then eventually you have made 2 orders instead of just making one order. That's when your eventual lifetime value increases, and your cost of acquisition also becomes profitable to the company, right? So that's how it increases your lifetime value of your users, and you can drive the maximum out of your users using remarketing. Remarketing necessarily doesn't mean that you are investing money on it. You can use free channels as well, right? So it's just about integrating it well with your business, where you can bring in some sort of data backing, and you can utilize it, and then you can continue doing it on a automated fashion, right? For instance, if someone adds something in cart, you can just create that as an event, and you can continuously send out SMSs to these users just to remind them, okay, that you have something in your cart, why don't you just come back and try it again, right? So it necessarily doesn't mean that you have to invest right away, but eventually you can choose between channels, right? You can decide what channel has worked better for you. So yes, it would eventually help you drive more conversions than what you would anyways do without remarketing, because people have a tendency to forget, right? And internet is such wide thing that if you are browsing for something, if you have already decided to buy something and you are on the cart, and all of a sudden if a user gets a call, then he'll go back, he'll close the tab, probably he'll not come back and buy it organically, he might not remember that, right? So there are a lot of cases in that where you need to go back to the user and tell him, okay, you were browsing this product, why don't you buy it now? You forgot to buy it, why don't you buy it now, right? So it would eventually help you drive more conversions through existing user base itself. You don't really need to go out and invest into getting more new users onto your platform. You can just utilize the users which have already been onto your platform, and again, the conversion rate is also very good because these people have already experienced your product. right? And also, if you are running a lot of remarketing campaigns and that you choose basically choose a Facebook, or you can choose Google or ad networks, anything you can run. If you're running your remarketing campaigns, then there is a perception which users get by seeing your ads is that, okay, this brand is showing me ads, this brand is something interesting, they are spending money on remarketing, they're spending money on bringing up their ads, they're showing their ads, right? So it basically brings a brand recall in users as well, that okay, I visited this app, but he would not know that. From a layman's perspective, again, he would not know that he has visited the app, he has visited the app or the website, but he would not recall it immediately, right? So when he sees the ad, he would immediately recall it. Okay, I visited this website. Okay, they are showing a lot of ads, right? You can continuously show ads and build your brand as well through this. This is a very powerful tool for brand building. And again, once you build your brand, then basically you are building your loyal user base out there, right? These people would come back and transact again and again with you, right? And they would also bring in more users. So eventually, it means more users, more business for you. You can in addition to this, what all you can try is there are unlimited possibilities from remarketing, right? So you can possibly, you can, if you are a very big app, if you are a very big business and you want to find more new users, then you can eventually start negating users who have already been on your app or your website, right? Who are already using your app or your website. That's how you can reach out to new users and you can get more new users on board. So you will eventually bring down your cost of acquisition, new acquisitions, and you'll reach out to new users. And you can use free channels to reach out to the existing users which you already have. And you can use basically free channels to drive retention, and you can acquire new users from this channel. So that way you can have a healthy mix of new and repeat users coming onto your platform. And again, as I mentioned, you can also have a cross-device conversion tracking setup, which will help you understand that how users are using different mediums and how are they coming onto your website or app, or where are they finally converting. How is the interplay? Basically, you will also want to understand what is the interplay of app versus web versus desktop, right? So that's how you can understand what exactly is working well for you, what is working to drive awareness, what is working to drive final conversions, and what is working to drive users into the consideration mode as well, right? When they are considering a product, they are considering that they'll make a closure. What exactly is driving them to closure? What is the channel? And that's how you can focus on channels. You can probably drive, you can allocate your spends on different channels, that how much you should spend on one channel, how much you should spend on other channel, and what would be the outcome of the spends, right? So that's very important. Important quote again here is 96% of visitors actually don't convert, right? If you see, the average conversion rates are anywhere between 3 to 4% or even less. So the money which you have spent to get all these 96 people on your website is actually wasted if you are not doing a remarketing. They may or may not come back. So you also need to have very smart understanding of your users, that do they have an organic behavior of coming back to your website and converting by their own, or they don't come back, right? You need to have a recall, you need to send out a message to these guys to come back and convert on your website. So you need to understand that as well. So yes, people make a lot of visits and then finally make a purchase, right? Today, if you were to buy a mobile phone as well, right, then you'll visit Amazon, then you'll visit Flipkart, then you'll visit some other product comparison websites, you'll visit some coupon websites, and then finally you would come and convert, right? And there is no clear tying of all the users. Then you really don't understand that, oh, user came from this device, that second device, third device. You need to tag the users properly to understand that. So these are some key points which you need to keep in your mind if you want to succeed with retargeting in general. And it's not very limited to mobile phones, but it is actually something. These are the tips which you can apply across channels, and it would yield the same result, right? most important piece is setting up proper audiences, right? Setting up proper audience segmentations. So you have figured out there are 100 people who are coming to your website, 4 have already converted, 96 have not converted, right? So you don't really need to reach out to those 4 users who have converted. You can use free mediums. If you have to reach out to those users, you can use the free mediums to reach out to for reaching out to those users, right? And for remaining 96 also, you can decide that where exactly are these 96 people in the funnel, right? So 96 people in this, you can figure out that okay, 50% of these people are deep in the funnel, they have visited they have browsed multiple pages and they have still not converted, means they are looking for something and they have not been able to figure out what they want and they have not converted, right? You would also figure out that 10% of the users added something to the cart but they didn't really made the checkout. What exactly went wrong in that case? So you can have smart audience lists. So you can set up audience list based on certain rules which you can define. You can define adding to cart as a rule. You can define form fill up as a rule. You can do, there are enormous number of possibilities, right? You can do scroll, you can do page views, you can do a lot of things in this case as well. And in case of app as well, you can take this to next level when you can use push notifications as well to great extent with all these smart audience lists, right? And you can also recommend a lot of you can recommend products to users, and you can again have smart lists, and you can pick your audience list, and then you can start showing you can basically start showcasing multiple creatives to these users, that okay, this is what you were doing and why don't you start doing this again, right? People who are checking out a product, you can start using the same product images in the ads, and you can show them a dynamic ad which can be created on the fly, and you can serve that ad to these users. So it is about setting up right audience, then it is about setting up right audience, and then it is about having reaching out to this audience in proper timing as well. Okay, we have a question here. I'll just take your question, Sanjeev. Give me one quick minute. I'll just cover this point. So you need to have proper, you need to know what time of when you need to reach the users, right? Because if you have set up a campaign and then you can decide that there are some users who are coming back organically. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to these users after a day, and I'll give them a day to convert organically, right? That could be a smart marketing approach which you can use, and you can reduce your spends from that. So it's about proper timing. You need to establish the proper timings which you feel that you need to be data driven as well. You can bring in more data. So I'll just quickly take this question from Sanjeev and then we'll move forward. Okay. When you say smart audience, do you mean smart marketing? Option in Google Analytics? If not, recommended audience. Okay. So smart audience, Sanjeev, here can be actually, sorry for the ambiguous word, it can be Google audience as well, Google Analytics audience, which is smart audience. You can set up that as well. But from smart, I actually meant smart audience list, which is like based on real-time events, based on certain smart events, basically, right? Smart events here can be your conversion, micro conversion, anything. So that's what I meant. And yes, you can use Google Analytics to create these smart audiences. Next point is having personalized creatives, right? As I mentioned, you can actually use the right image. If I was looking at a product, you can use the same image in the creative and then show this creative to the user. In that way, basically what would happen is user would have a higher recall, and you will eventually get higher click-through rates on your ads which you serve, or even the push notifications which you send. You will have higher click-through rates on that. So it's about testing multiple creatives. So you can test whatever creatives you want. There are a lot of creatives which you can create. There are a lot of templates which you can use, and you can also try using dynamic creatives, which basically are created on the fly by the system, where you supply a feed of certain parameters, and then those parameters are picked, and on basis on suggestion basis and all smart algorithms, it is picked, the products are picked and displayed to the users, right? So you can continue using continue testing with creatives and figure out what works best for what category of your users. And you can also have plain vanilla creatives as well. It just depends on what exactly you want and what works best for your market. So different markets behave differently, right? We have seen there are some places where even the basic creatives work great, and there are some a lot of countries where you don't see the even the best of the creatives work, right? Because people have lesser tendency towards seeing ads, and so that's how you'll have to figure that out what works best. Next point is again very important point, which a lot of people ask, is that how should we attribute India and a lot of places where a lot of countries where you see people are working towards a goal of final completion. They tend to measure conversions on last click attribution, and that might not be the best thing to do in certain cases, right? When you are building brand, you really cannot measure your conversions on the last click, because that might be driven from a different channel altogether. So you need to figure out what is the right attribution, where you should attribute your conversions, what should be your conversion attribution times be like, and till what date will you attribute the conversion. When you are using remarketing as a channel, it can actually work quite well if you set up your attribution right, and it will give you a lot of insights as well. So just be sure that whatever attribution model you are using is in line to your remarketing or overall marketing strategy, so that whenever you look at your results, you look at your ROI, you don't really make decisions based on wrong attribution or misattributions which have happened, right? So there would, if you are not setting it up right, then there would be some campaigns which would get a lot of attribution, and there would be some campaigns which would not get attributed, but you'd eventually decide that you'll not run the campaigns which have got lesser attributions, and then you'll start seeing dip in the other campaign as well. So you'd not be able to figure out what went wrong. So it's very important to have proper attribution model set up. And let's move to the next point. Next point is to exclude audience, right? So how many of you have seen this? You would have faced a lot of situations where you went to a website, you were retargeted by a lot of ads, and even after making that purchase, right? In case of flights as well, you would have seen that even after you have made a purchase of that flight ticket from the same website, you are still seeing the same ads. Does that really, doesn't that really bother you? Because you have already made that purchase and you are still seeing that ad, right? So that's something which is actually not done in India a lot, and that is something which we should definitely do as marketeers, and across the world we should have this thing set up as a protocol, that you need to exclude people who have already converted until and unless you are showing them a different product or you're selling them a different solution, you are cross selling, right? Till that time, I think you should not do it, and you should exclude your people who have already converted and not show them ads. Stop showing them ads, right? Because they already converted. Or you can also have certain exclusions which are like time-based exclusions, right? In case of flights booking, hotel bookings, and other pieces as well, people don't tend to stay in the cycle for long, right? If you need a hotel, you just decide within a day or 2 or 7 days, right? That's a frequency which you need to decide, that what is the frequency you want to target users with. You need to also decide that what is the time till which you'll be targeting these users. You cannot go on and continuously bombard users with ads, right? Because that's not something which your users would like, and eventually your campaign performance would not be right. So you need to use this very judiciously, and you also need to use the frequency capping very judiciously. If you have shown me an ad 10 times, then if I have not clicked on the ad, then maybe I'm not interested. Maybe show me a different creative, right? So you need to have right frequency capping as well, to understand that what exactly is happening and your users are not frustrated of seeing your ads, right? Because there's a very fine line between reaching out users with the right frequency capping and wrong frequency capping, because after a particular time users will be irritated by your ads, and if they report your ads, you will eventually get bad quality scores, so you'd not want to do that. you.